What is up, guys? It is Lost Girl. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm making a video heavily inspired by the Multiversus creator Slush, who made a video back in the beta basically explaining 3 counters for every character in Multiversus. Now I'm not going to be giving exact numbers. I'm basically just be giving you at least one tip for every character based off of general knowledge for me in the community, and also someone who's, I don't know if you guys see my videos, but I've been trying to master every single character and use every single one of their pieces of their kit, and also be able to land combos and even 0 to deaths consistently. Basically, I want to learn every character, so I think giving you guys this knowledge that I've learned so far about counterplay for each character, as well as weaknesses for each character, will seriously help you in your matchup knowledge. Let's just get right into it. I'll be going down from Arya to Wonder Woman in alphabetical order. Now, starting with Arya, Arya is a sword fighter who is basically very reliant on looking for early kills and probably won't have as good of buttons as most bruisers. For example, Shaggy, Banan Guard, Batman, and so on. So her buttons are kind of stubby. All of her aerials, even though she does have a sword, are very short range. Minus maybe her down attack that makes her roll forward and use some of her bar to do damage. But I feel like the biggest thing you should watch out and worry about against this character is you need to be able to read and be ready for her strings. The way most Aryas are going to be playing is they're going to look for that. They're basically just going to look for an Airwalker string against you. And if you don't know what Airwalker is a perk that allows you to replace your air parry slot so that you can summon like a platform to use any grounded attack on. So what Aryas will do to you is jab into up B is one of their best strings because it takes you so far in the sky. So they can repeatedly create a platform and basically build their own combos. Completely using this jab up B thing. And I'm sure, as a non-Arya main, I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff you could do to make this a better string or make this 0 to death combo better. But yeah, you basically just don't want to make it really easy to be whiff punished, because if you're constantly missing attacks and wasting your dodge meter, they're eventually going to land one of these, and if you go into burnout, you're cooked against this character. So I would say be very careful about your dodge meter and try not to get caught lacking. Banan Guard is what most people would consider a noob killer. This character is known for his side special, his side air, his neutral attack on the ground, and also his side special in the air is what people kind of point out about him. But the thing you should know about Banan Guard is that this move has so much end lag. I'll side special and I'll spam a move. Do you see there's literally a whole second of end lag on this thing? So what I thought was the most optimal way to play against Banan Guard is I thought that you would, as soon as that purple thing was about to disappear on his spear, you should immediately hit him. What you should actually do instead is wait an extra second until the lingering is gone and this whole stop thing happens that he does. The best way to counter a Banan Guard side special is with a down air or with some sort of jumping above and hitting down kind of move. Instead of trying to rush punishing Banan Guard side special, I would rather miss it by half a second to have him dodge out of it than go for it early and take 12 damage. So with Banan Guard, just wait that extra second against a lot of his moves, because there's a lot of moves where you want to rush in, you want to you know what I mean, get him out of your face because he's a stupid banana attacking you. But a lot of times it's better to just wait out some of his hitboxes and wait out some of the end lag, because they're not nearly as egregious as some of the other moves, especially side special. I feel like the bigger problem with this character, if you don't know how to deal with his side special, is his side air. Another thing you should know about Banan Guard is that his charge only charges his knockback. Some people think it charges his damage, so they'll do it after you die in 1v1s. But there's really no point in doing that. The actual more scary thing about Banan Guard in this mode is the fact that in 2s he can do this. I feel like this is more of a threat in 2s, considering the fact that your teammates can just take over while you charge. Another thing you should know about Banan Guard is that he has little to no true combos. He doesn't really combo that hard. The main strengths about this character are his buttons. You have to respect that as a bruiser, even though he's not going to have insane combos, he's still going to have the ability to basically just outspace you and do more damage than you in every attack. That is the point of him. So there's no point in raging and talking about how broken Banan Guard is when you're falling and landing on him every 5 seconds, giving him free side specials and free side airs. Overall, this is the noob killer character. The last thing you want to do is get tilted against him. That's the whole point of Banan Guard. One thing to understand about Batman is that this character is heavily carried by the fact that he has a projectile that he can control. Besides his dash attack, this character does not have that much range and neutral. So you'll find that anytime you're kind of in a neutral state trying to look for an opening on this character or against this character, he'll only be using Batarang, or he'll dodge jump into like a Sair or something. But in general, like, he's not going to hit you from far away. So even though he's fast and may have some really oppressive combos, this character's neutral is actually kind of trash if you know what you're dealing with. So one really good way to beat Batman is if he's really like not smart about how he throws out Batarang, you want to break it. So look at this. If I throw Batarang and it comes back to me, it'll take like 2 or 3 seconds to come back. So I'll be able to just do it all over again. So if I destroy my own Batarang, look at that shit. It's literally gone for like 15 seconds. So now as a Batman, all I can do is hit you with jab, dash attack, and maybe my down attack. There's not much I can really do. So against Batman, just try to prioritize getting rid of his Batarang. A lot of Batmans will not have any idea what to do as soon as you get rid of it, or as soon as you start playing around it. You can also use perks like Clear the Air that will reflect projectiles whenever they're thrown at you. One thing you should note about Black Adam is that even though he may seem like a bruiser or whatever, this character is basically a mage. Like, look at these projectiles this man could just throw out for free. And then not only that, he has insanely good ways to combo you and to keep you at a range and keep you honest. Like, this character is incredibly good, so keep that in mind. Probably a really good idea to run a projectile perk. You could run Protective Momentum, which gives you a projectile shield, or Clear the Air. Or make sure if your character has any sort of anti-projectile, you'll use it. The projectiles will not beat this character because he has a bubble he can hide in and then shoot out projectiles at any time to basically threaten your gameplay. Like, this bubble is incredibly annoying to deal with, and you can't really wait it out. After he uses his bubble, he only has to wait about 15 to 20 seconds for it to come back. This is a really bad matchup for a lot of zoner characters. However, Black Adam is really easy to combo. And so on. This character is kind of built to be combo food. Next up, we got Bugs. Bugs, I actually have some really elite knowledge I can teach you guys, so let me put you on. There's a lot of good tech with dealing with this character. The first one that comes to mind is how you can destroy his safe. So check this out. If I have the perk that makes your dash attack break armor, just so you know, Bugs' dash attack cannot break armor normally. But since I have the perk on, it one-shots his safe and gets rid of the item. So if Bugs has safe, you can either use your most safe and reliant armor breaking move, like Fin Nair, for example, since we're talking about Fin next, or you can use his down tilt, for example. So on the purple spark you see right there, that means that it breaks armor. So anything that breaks armor will automatically break his safe. This also means that if you use Armor Crush, your fully charged attacks will also break armor. It will automatically break the safe if you go up to it with a charged attack now. So look at this. So this can be really good for this move, which is not very committal on Finn, for example. Again, Armor Crush is not very good on a lot of characters, but on some characters it's really strong. Don't let Bugs get his safe up for free. It's probably one of his best moves and can lead into 0 to death just off the move alone. Make sure you respect it, but always try to shut it down. Next up, we got Finn. This is a very important character to know how to play against because he's supposed to be a matchup check in this game. Basically, you can collect coins that'll allow him to get more knockback on his backpack. So what's really good on Finn is trying to hit your opponent as much as possible. And then the one thing you should keep in mind that Finns will want to do against you is Nair in a backpack. This is the true combo. Whenever his Nair is off cooldown, which is about an 8 to 10 second cooldown, he'll have the ability to carry you kind of with his combos, which is really good for laddering you or taking you across the stage horizontally. So yeah, just keep that in mind that his Nair is really strong, and depending on how many coins he has, he's way more available to killing you. As a Finn main, I can tell you one thing for sure. This character cannot kill unless he has coins. So if you kill Finn first, alright, so I'm playing against a Garnet, right? Like a fake Garnet, whatever, right? So if she's actually gonna kill me, here, I'm gonna like have her kill me. But yeah, if she kills me and I look at all these coins I have, right? Let me open the shop. I have like what, like let's say like 1,200 coins. This is where you want to be, because now if I go up to her and try to dash attack, it'll knock her across the stage. But now if she does some sort of option where it'll kill me, hopefully. Right, so she kills me. Now if I come back, I can't kill her. I have no coins. So now I won't be able to dash attack and I won't be able to backpack. So just know this, if Finn loses his stock first, he is fucked. This is probably his biggest problem as a character, because once you're in the situation as Finn, you're in a very awkward spot. So if anything, try to take the stock first over Finn and don't let him have coins. Otherwise, he will kill you at very, very unfair percents. The first thing you should understand about Garnet is that since she's a bruiser now, her combos are actually really good. And she actually has the ability to combo pretty much anybody for like 30 to 50% or even kill opponents for free. So you have to respect her kill power and her damage. But the one way to counter Garnet is that this character's hurt box is massive. Like, I know it seems like, you know, Black Adam or Superman would be bigger characters, but Garnet probably is the second or third biggest hurt box in the game. Therefore, even though she has really good combos, really good setups, and stuff that definitely is really good, she really struggles because she's basically always either getting comboed or dying really early because she is such a big character. With her up special, she shoots out this little laser move. If a Garnet jabs you at like 100, usually she'll have an easy access to a kill. But if her shock is back up, she doesn't have it anymore. So if you have enough time against Garnet, you'll notice it's really good to keep track of this. Insanely good pressure, her projectiles are good, all of her moves feel really solid now. Her speed and her hurt box are really her two biggest weaknesses and hold the character back. And she's definitely a character you should not underestimate. He has incredibly good death combos. Like, this character can pretty much kill off of anything. Gizmo's up air is criminal. This move that has the most unfair hitbox ever. And so whenever you're playing against Gizmo, you do not want to be above this character at any point in the game. This is one of the worst characters to be above, because even though he can start this kind of stuff off the ground, this is the example of the kind of things he can do to you in the air. You can charge his arrow as well. So whenever it's charged, it shoots really fast. It's pretty much unreactable and can kill. And it ignites them, so it does a lot of damage. And it sets up for the ability to really just punish your opponent. He can also save this charged arrow, which in my opinion can make his death combos even better. But the biggest thing about Gizmo, besides his really, really insane combo game, his broken specials, and relatively decent kill power, all things considered, this character's biggest weakness is his range. He does not have any disjoints pretty much, except for his arrow and his projectiles. None of his attacks are going to hit you across the map. He has the ability to keep you out. So you want to use any sort of disjoints you can and not let him play his passive game with charged up arrows, popcorn, etc. This is a really tricky character to play against, so I think it really just depends on the matchup. I would highly recommend learning Gizmo and figuring him out because he's a very, very popular meta threat right now. And I think that he's got a lot of things that are really hard to deal with. All right, getting into Harley, just like what I talked about with Banan Guard, her down tilt is literally the exact same deal as Banan Guard's side special. You want to wait that extra second to punish her, because right here it looks like she's not going to be able to do anything quick, and usually that is how it is. She has a short version where she gets a lot less recovery, especially if she hits an opponent. She can kind of cancel into it whatever she wants. But long range, this move is really good, don't get me wrong, but it's very committal. It is very much so a hard read. The best thing to do against Harley down tilt is the down air. So the best thing you can do is, as soon as this foot comes out, the foot is the hitbox. Pretty much anywhere around her leg will hit you. So what you want to do is you want to find a disjointed down air or some sort of disjointed move that hits downwards and just punish her while she slides. And the good thing about that is a lot of these moves are hard to hit neutral but reward and a lot of damage. So like Joker down air, for example, or Finn down air can lead into really high damage combos if you punish her long range down tilt. One more thing you should know about Harley is that she's extremely light, so that even though she has a lot of combos that are really unnecessary and really unfair hitboxes, this character dies super early. One thing about Harley you should also note is that if you run into a Harley that's using side special a lot, this move really sucks and has a lot of startup. It's also really predictable. Also, it yields like no reward for Harley most of the time. So if you see a Harley using this move, punish it. It's really not that good. Next up, we got Jake. Now, this is a character that really struggles right now and isn't really that good. The one thing you should know about him is that his Sair has a hurt box now. So sometimes, whenever you're throwing out Sair as Jake, you can get your arm hit, basically. It also has a really deceiving hitbox and sweet spot, despite being a really strong move. So basically, Jake does not really get rewarded for using his disjoints anymore the same way he used to. One thing people don't really talk about with Jake either is that even though he's not as good anymore, his bite is still broken, bruh. Like, dead ass. You can send anybody any direction you want as long as you hold. You press the neutral special button and then hold in a direction. You can shoot them out anywhere. which leads to crazy reads. And if Jake gets any buffs in the future, I could see his bite being really overpowered again. Next up is Jason. The main thing you really need to know about this character is it's the same deal as Garnet. I think he still has really, really good buttons. His jab jam and the teleport kills really, really early. There's 3 things about Jason that make him flawed. First of all, this is a waste of a move. This move sucks, and you should never use it. If you're playing Jason, or if you see a Jason, this move is just not good. It's a meme move, to be honest. It has way too much end lag. Look at this. I'm spamming a button. Now I can press a button. So if you ever see a Jason do this, they have to pull out their whole ass machete afterwards. Do not let them get away with this. Next up, you gotta understand that Jason's disjoint game is really not that good. For a character that's kind of built around disjoints and built around like being able to hit opponents from far away, the real only ones that like stand out to me is his up B and up air. His up B and up air are really big. And so like this kind of goes into the main thing you should know about Jason, is that you do not want to be above him. That is probably his best strength, is whenever he's above opponents, is because his up air and his up B can lead into kills at like 50 a lot of the time, which is kind of like the main thing people like would clip on Jason. Anytime anybody was playing Jason, they just clip like stuff like this, which is just carrying you into the air and just up air, up B in random orders, right? So recap, his sleeping bag is really, really bad. He's massive, so always try to combo him. Always try to be on the ground against him, or at least not too far in the air. Otherwise, you'll probably get killed at 50. Next up, we got LeBron. One thing you need to know about this character is that he got 0 priority, all right? This character has insane combos, good setups, and is very much so a trap-based character. He basically wants to place traps using his basketballs to make it really, really hard to deal with him. But the thing about this character is that his damage and his overall hitboxes are just not as strong as the other characters right now. So honestly, you can get away with mashing a lot of the time against LeBrons. But good LeBrons will not let you do that. So how do you deal with a really good LeBron? Well, first you have to keep good note of his ball management. A good LeBron will know how to manage their ball and won't lose it very often. But you gotta understand, LeBron's no ball kit now is not that good. It seems okay because you have this nair that you can use that's really good for approaching. And don't get me wrong, it's really, really good still. But if you're in a situation where you have no ball, you need to kill your opponent, there's really no option to do it. So if you notice that LeBron is running away, has his ball reset off cooldown, and is unarmed while you're at high percent, this character can't do shit. All he can do is this. Which isn't true. If LeBron has no ball, this character's only good move is shoulder bash. Or nair. Every other move is kind of ass. Besides maybe forward air, which has a slight disjoint on it. But again, this move does 3%. None of his unarmed moves do any damage. So note that this character has a lot of weaknesses in the fact that even though his ball mechanic is really strong, they did a lot to his other parts of his kit to try to stop it from being so powerful. This is another character you might want to consider projectile perks against, because getting rid of his ball can be so detrimental to his game plan. Next up, we got Marvin. This character is a very, very hard character to run into, but also whenever you run into this character, it is very, very scary because nobody plays him. Like, nobody knows how to deal with them, right? But I do. Here's what I have to say about Marvin. This character is really, really, really good. He's kind of like a mini Gizmo because he has a lot of disjoints like this. His forward air is still pretty good in that regard. All of his projectiles, the 9 yards. But the biggest gimmicks about him that people don't understand. Marvin basically has a flag mechanic, and what this flag mechanic does basically is whenever they're in his territory, it'll literally like target anybody in it. So anytime he throws out this move, if you're playing against a good Marvin, respect this shit. It is overpowered. Because this character's advantage is really unfair. Like, using this perk makes it pretty much impossible to land if you have no dodges. Like, literally impossible. And his rocket and ability to kill is actually really strong. So, respect the fact that this character is basically an assassin with mage capabilities. He has his button, which gives him the ability to change direction of his projectiles anytime, making his neutral and grounded game really, really good, because you always have to jump over them to approach him, and he's such a small character with a crouch that makes him even smaller. So it's just really hard to hit him. Seems like he would be a really annoying character if he's very viable or very strong. So don't sleep on this matchup. And most of all, respect his projectiles and understand that his boxing is not going to be that good close range, but his advantage and his projectile setup game is just really unfair. Next up, we got Morty. This character is really interesting on how the counterplay works again on him, because one thing about Morty is he's so buggy that a lot of the time most Morty players are fighting against themselves. Like, if I'm trying to just practice and train out Morty grenades and figure out how they work, a lot of the time they won't work in the favor I want them to, or they'll just be really gimmicky. So even though Morty grenades are really threatening and are very powerful, they're not super consistent. So you'll notice a lot of Morty players will put themselves in disadvantageous situations trying to control these damn things. One thing to also know about Morty is that if he uses his rewind in ones, it's a really bad move. If he goes back to it, there's no hitbox left there. And if he has any grenades left, the grenades get put from where he came from instead of where he goes. So it's a really bad move, even though it heals him. Finally, one thing you should know about Morty is that even though you may not know this right off the surface, his dirt will go anywhere on the stage. It goes almost anywhere. You can send his dirt wherever you want. He has a time limit on how long he can have it out, but at any point you can decide to release it, making this move godlike if your opponent is very slow. One more thing about Morty is that his laser is pretty much his best tool for comboing. It's really the only thing that makes a lot of his stuff, his combos, like, consistent. As Morty players get better, they have this tech where you can basically throw the grenade and throw it instantly out of a combo. Out of a laser, you can get a grenade for free, which has insane knockback. So basically just keep a note of the Morty's laser cooldown, because it's pretty much the main thing that'll create crazy combos and crazy advantage state for him, kind of carried by his laser. Also, his up B, his granddad ship, has a massively long cooldown, so this move you'll really only ever get to see once or twice a game. Next up, we got Raindog. One thing you should know about this character is that his neutral attack has a very big startup and end lag now. Back in the day, you used to be able to just throw it out in the middle of a combo even and it would work. Now this move is very committal. This move seems to be very committal just for the sake of it being infinite. However, if he charges it, it can be really deadly and lead into like crazy combos. Also, one thing that's really good on Raindog is this. You can basically slide charge off of a platform with his up tilt. I don't even think this is supposed to be intentional, but really good Raindog players have been showing this off, and it can lead into like crazy combos that I don't know how to do. So just be careful about this setup, because his up tilt is one of his best qualities, because it actually gives a lot of like actually scary stuff to Raindog that allows him to get chases into the air, and push is actually underrated advantage state that allows him to do a lot of combos and kill off the top pretty early. Another thing you should know about Raindog is he's also combo food. He's pretty easy to combo considering he's stubby and big. This is kind of like the classic zoner archetype in this game. He doesn't really have a lot of gimmicks about him that make him really hard to play against, but a really good Raindog will cause anybody a lot of trouble. This character's underrated and has a lot of sauce. Also, his up B is basically just a dodge jump for free. You can just fly across the map with this thing. Next up, we got Rick. This character is incredibly underrated. His jab is busted. If you jab 1-2 on him and then portal, then you can basically get a true combo into there that can lead into busted combos on this character. Jab alone could pay Rick's taxes. This is pretty much his only good button to get all of his stuff started. Otherwise, Rick is kind of just like the stick figure, just throwing around a bunch of really overtuned projectiles, but really struggles to find many other openings. His jab really carries him, and with average speed and his only get up B tools being up B and Sair, this character can be really easy to keep in disadvantage for a while until he gets his portal back. Also, this character takes a lot more brain power than other characters. Similarly with Morty, a lot of the time, most Ricks will be their own downfall unless they're hardcore mains of the character. He has a lot of stuff that I struggle to even do a lot of times, and the character does generally take a lot of brain power to operate. Oftentimes, whenever Ricks will set up portals and Meeseeks, it'll lead to them kind of throwing their advantage if you know what you're looking for. So don't give Rick an opportunity to set you up. Either shut him down while he's trying to do it, or completely respect it and stay away from whatever shenanigans he's pulling off. Next up, we got Shaggy. This character's notorious for this move basically because it does 14 damage and can knock people across the stage. Personally, I think this move is way more problematic than Banan Guard's side special because there's not as much end lag with this move. I mean, there is definitely end lag, but you can get an up air out pretty quick, I feel like. So with side special, just you can tell when a Shaggy's looking for it. If you're thinking about it, you can look for it. Because think about it, Shaggy really only has two ways he can approach you like this: side special or dash attack. Dash attack, honestly, I can deal with getting hit by this move. It does not have that much knockback, and it only does like 9 damage. Or like 10 damage or something. Basically, Shaggy's will have a dash attack mind game, either this or this as their burst option. And each Shaggy will be different about how they do it, but most of them are pretty much the same. This move does not have that much range, as you'd think, and the hitbox isn't even that deceiving. It just does a lot of damage, and it's a really easy move to hit your opponent with since it's so linear. It's also worth noting he can change his momentum with it. He can go up or down. So yeah, just remember that without side special, like, this character becomes a very simple bruiser. Like, he's just has good tools, he has good hitboxes, but his side special is not the problem. Yeah, Shaggy's jab is not worth getting hit by at 90 or 100% because it will kill you on almost any stage at that percent. He also can use up strong and combo into the air to make it kill at even lower percents. You missed that dodge and you're cooked. And I'm sure if you were faster with it, you could probably make it true. His character's jab is insane. And even though it's stubby, it kills at such low percents. One thing to know about Shaggy as well is that whenever he uses his rage, really predictable Shaggys have the problem of not using their charge properly. So what I notice is really good on Shaggy is using your charge for true combos like this that can kill at egregious percents and weaken your opponent. So the best way to deal with Shaggy charge is you can do a mid-air dodge jump. Like, you have a lot of movement options to catch up to him. So dodging and then immediately jumping after gives you a lot of area momentum, puts you really high in the sky, and usually you can hit a Shaggy doing a charge. Hangry Man is currently one of the best perks in the game. Why? Because whenever you pick up a sandwich, you charge instantly. And not only that, you can always just throw it at your opponent. So you can basically just play Shaggy like this with sandwiches. And then as soon as you hit your opponent with a sandwich, you're guaranteed to get a charge off because they'll be in hit stun for long enough. So Hangry Man also is really scary, and I would respect it. I wish I could give you a good counter for it, but it really is just that good. Next up, we got Steven. Now, this character is also really good, but one thing you should note about him, there's even some characters out there that literally can one-shot his shields. Like, for example, Shaggy Side Special actually can one-shot his shields. Placing down these shields allows him to go for crazy combos, and he has a perk that allows him to do more damage based off of hitting him off of your shield. A formation like this with down air alone could make Steven do like 50%. Another thing that's worth noting about Steven is that his Rose Bomb will attach to multiple things that are a part of his kit. So his Rose Bomb is his neutral special that kind of creates a line like this little like laser thing. It could be one of his best ways to set up for a kill or just win neutral in general. What a lot of players like to do with the Watermelon Steven is they'll Rose Bomb their Watermelon Steven, and then they'll have like a line in between him that's both moving at the same time and makes it extremely hard to deal with. Like, if I'm doing this, I'm kind of like approaching the Garnet. I can Rose Bomb and then set up for kills basically with my buddy. The best way to deal with this though is just finding out what move kills Watermelon Steven. Certain characters have moves that just will one-shot him no matter what, or two-shot him. So find out how to kill this thing, because genuinely it creates so many problems. Back in the beta, it wasn't that good, but now it's insane. Next up, you need to understand that Steven's hitboxes on his down air is not where you think it is. His down air actually hits above him more than it does below him. Like, notice how I can't really... Like, look, I'm kind of hitting above me. One of his best strengths is probably his edge guarding because of his ability to cover options, and also just his big hitboxes that make no sense. Next up, we got Stripe. I got a few tips for this character. Is that his down gun is broken. So basically, that is what a lot of Stripes will go with, is that if they get you on the ledge, is they'll go to just try to gun you immediately whenever they have a hitbox on you. If you have a marker on you, being on this ledge is a horrible idea. Never do it, and you'll die for it every time. Especially because Stripes there is actually pretty damn good, in my opinion. So, kind of same theme as everybody else. Make sure you capitalize on the fact that he's heavy. But another thing you should note with Superman is his Sniper Punch. This move is broken, because this move alone is just busted and kills at ridiculous percents. Like, it's insane. So his side B is something that you have to space around and keep a mental note of at all times while you're playing against him. Another thing about Superman is that his Sair and Nair combined with each other makes his corner carry insanely good and gives him the ability to zero to death people for free. Like, you can land with a Nair, for example, extend the combo, just like that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that Superman has a 50-50 off stage, and you can't just ignore it. You have to respect it. This character is meant to have very, very annoying ways to carry you across the stage and punish you for making stupid dodges and making stupid mistakes. He's very punishing to play against and has a lot of ways to kill you at really dumb percents. Another thing you should know about Superman is he has a lot of armored moves that are not committal at all. If you feel like that your opponent is going to use it a lot, this is a character you want to use anti-armor perks on pretty much every time. Like whether it be armor killer, armor crush, too fast to block, and etc. Otherwise though, that's my best advice for Superman. Next up we got Taz. In my opinion, Taz is not anything crazy, but the biggest thing you need to understand about him is that his side B and his up B are both really hard to challenge. They're not moves that are meant to be respected. You can approach his tornado with certain moves or with certain disjoints, but his dog pile, there's basically no point. Like you should never be approaching this move. You should only ever be running away from it because it does a lot of damage and can lead into insane strings like dog pile Sair. The biggest thing to know about Taz is that he will capitalize on your mistakes just as big as a character like Superman, but he doesn't have almost any of the pros that a character like Superman has. So use that to your advantage. Next up we got Joker. This character is broken and probably one of the best characters in the game. First off, respect Joker's jab. This move is just insane. This move commits war crimes on levels that cannot be understood. It hits from anywhere, pulls you in, hits backwards, hits forward, hits inside him. It's outside of him. It hits everywhere, man. This move's crazy. And understand that even though it does have a massive hitbox, it is still very punishable from above. If you down air a Joker doing jab, you will always get a punish. However, this doesn't mean you should always approach him from above because he still has ability to deal with that. He has this up smash, he has this up air, he has his up B. So being above him is a very big threat. However, there's a lot of key moves that can only be punished if you're behind or above him. What I'm trying to say is this character has weaknesses inside of his strengths. You can't just like say, oh, punish this or do this against him, because he's very well rounded, and probably if you want to get really good at the matchup, it's very useful to understand how all of his cards work. He has 4 different types of cards. The diamond, you can throw at them and then it'll blow them up after a second, kind of like a shortened version of Bat Bomb. The heart will be one that'll go straight through them and then come back to you, and then you can kind of control it like Batarang. And then another thing is that all of his cards, while all doing different things, due to his perk that basically gives him an explosive card, he'll basically throw out a massive card every once in a while. Also, that was the final one I was talking about. That throws out 3 cards. I feel like that's probably his best one. To be more specific, it's the club. So the club card basically throws out 3. Oh, of course it does it that time. It'll randomly sometimes throw out a massive, like, big Joker card that'll blow them up and kill it like 90. So keep track of these cards and understand which ones do which. If you see this big card coming at you, do not let yourself get hit by it. It does like 10 and can set up for one of Joker's best strengths, which is his advantage state and his ability to keep you in the air. Finally, one thing to note about Joker is that his combo game is just out of this world. Doing jab into instant air dodge anything basically will allow you to just combo anything into anything on this character. But the biggest openings about Joker is the fact that he doesn't really have any crazy burst options to approach you with. Pretty much his best approach option and his only approach option is his side special, which has a very strong lingering hitbox and isn't really worth punishing. But yeah, this makes his approach really linear. That's why people get really bored playing against this character, is that he has a very, like, his strengths are kind of in your face without a lot you can do about it. But that doesn't mean the character's unbeatable. If it weren't for Joker's side special, which will definitely get nerfed by the time this video's out, I feel like, his get off me tools would be kind of bad. Like, whenever he's in disadvantage, he kind of sucks, like, to be real with you. It's like his only weakness is that I feel like while he's stuck in the air, he has his card and his side special. That's kind of it. So try to punish him whenever he's trying to recover from the stage, because I don't think he has that good of a disadvantage state. Next up, we got Tom and Jerry. The counterplay for this character I feel like is a lot easier to understand and a lot easier to explain. Jerry, right? That's basically the main thing that carries Tom. His side air is still really good. He still has good, like, racket. This move is still good. His up air is still good. His down air is still good. Doesn't mean he'll be at an insane disadvantage. But the main thing that carries Tom and Jerry, let's be honest, it's his slingshot. Like, the ability to do this, you know, throw out your tennis balls and stuff like that. Be able to throw out the corks on the opponent. This is the main bread and butter that makes Tom and Jerry good. So if he ever shoots out his slingshot stupidly, make him feel dumb for it. The reason why slingshot is so good is because a lot of players don't make Tom and Jerry players feel stupid for using it. There's a lot of times where I'm playing Tom and Jerry and the opponent will, like, just do nothing about my Jerry, and I'll basically be able to win the game just off the fact that they don't kill him. But there's certain characters and players that will see a Jerry on the ground and will murder him at any time you see him. This is how you want to be. You want to make sure you're always trying to kill Jerry and find a move that consistently kills him. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself always losing neutral and wondering why the character feels so annoying to play against. It's because he's meant to lose his Jerry every once in a while, and if you don't take care of it and respect this as a part of his playstyle, it's really, really hard to beat Tom and Jerry. Next up, we got Velma. I don't know if you're struggling against Velma. I don't know what to tell you, to be honest with you, because this character kind of sucks if I'm being real. Whenever she's above you, I feel like she actually is really good. Like, that is pretty much her only strength, is that she's really good at forcing opponents above her to respect her, basically. And also, if you're struggling against Velma, you might be struggling because of her car. And the best thing to keep in mind about that is that her evidence will appear on the screen. These little magnifying glasses will appear on the screen, and that her meter for her investigation will basically go up as the match progresses. And also, it'll kind of fly out of the opponent. So you can call the mystery van. I'm gonna go after them. I'll take them out. Blah, blah, blah. You know the whole nine. It'll try to take them off the stage, basically, until they break out. So you basically just don't want to let her gather clues, and keep note of her clue meter, because otherwise you're going to get caught in this van and going to be put in really bad situations. The two things you want to do against this character is, one, you want to run her down and overwhelm her, and two, you don't want to be above her. Try to avoid letting her get too many clues, otherwise you'll get caught in the mystery van and get put in really shitty situations. Finally, we got Wonder Woman. This is probably the best character in the game, and I'm glad I saved this for last because it's going to be hard to explain. Wonder Woman has pretty much like 5 of the best moves in the game all at once. Her Sair, her neutral attack, her jab, her nair, and her armor. These are pretty much her best moves. She has way more good moves, don't get me wrong, like every one of her moves is at least an 8 or 9 out of 10. But those are the main things you want to worry about. Now, what is the thing you don't want to do against Wonder Woman? Don't make yourself so easy to whiff punish. This is the easiest character to whiff punish on because of this move. It does 13 damage, kills you, and leads into some of her strings for free. She's probably the easiest top tier to be top tier with, right? Like, you can be a 6 or 7 out of 10 Wonder Woman and be able to beat like a 9 or 10 out of 10 on a lot of characters, on people playing good characters. Like, her Sair alone is just insane. Her uppy and up air leading into true combos that can kill pretty early. Her nair jab loot combo. If you've played a lot against Wonder Woman, you know what I'm talking about. But one thing you should keep in mind is you should respect this character's meter. If her meter is high, do not get jabbed by this character, because her jab into down tilt is true. Like, look, she's still in hit stun. You can do this into this true, even whenever you don't have it charged, and still does like an extra 10%. I think it's whenever you armor your teammates or block your opponent's projectiles that you get more charge. So luckily, you guys out there that are playing like characters without projectiles, you don't really have to worry about this. But if you're playing a projectile character, be very careful about how much you're using them and if you're telegraphed about them. Because good Wonder Womans will just do this and just sit there, and then she'll have full down tilt charge, and then you'll die at 50 and you won't even matter that you used projectile in the first place to get the advantage, because it put you in such a big disadvantage. Projectiles can become actively bad to use against Wonder Woman whenever she has so many things going for her, on top of down tilt just doing what it does. But yeah, just be very careful about charging up her meter. Next up, you've got to play a whiff punishy game. You can't really be the one to approach or the one to like leave yourself open or bait the Wonder Woman, because with the patient ones will 3-stock you consistently because the character is just so damn strong. The way you deal with this is by playing about this range from Wonder Woman. Is that it makes her Sair reactable, so that you can still avoid getting hit by it. It makes her nair not as easy to get hit by. Her dair is pretty hard to hit from a dodge jump or from a decent range. She won't be able to dodge into jab from this range either. From this range, dodge jumping into Sair is reactable, I feel like. Her nair isn't as tough to deal with, especially because you see the first part of it before she gets to you. Basically, you want to stay about a Shaggy side special away from Wonder Woman at all times. This is a good range to keep, and unless you're in a severe advantage where she has no specials, no dodges, she's in burnout, whatever, it's a good rule of thumb to stay this distance from the character and wait for her to miss first. Because if you're the one missing first against this character, there's no reason she won't get the punish on you. She has more range than you. Like, these 2 moves alone will have more range than most characters. And she does a lot of damage. So as her frames get nerfed and stuff like that, you've got to understand that she's going to be the one that's going to have to whiff first. You don't want to be the one whiffing in front of her, because she'll always win the interaction that way. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I tried to give as much informational stuff as I could. Again, some of it may have been more just like general, tips about certain characters or just like things to watch out for or whatever. Something to like really help you guys like actually understand some of the matchups, some of the characters, what to have on your mind going into each match, basically. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.